Greetings, my champions, and welcome to Live with Chatufa. We will continue to be giving you updates of what is happening in the nation as we closely watch the activities that are happening in our politics, as well as developments that are happening towards the freedom of Zimbabwe. Remember, we are marching towards the freedom of Zimbabwe. Remember, this is the season of change, and we are seeing the Lord doing great things in our midst as Zimbabwe is showing signs through the implosion of ZANU-PF, the destruction of ZANU-PF, and of course, the fights and divisions that we continue to see ZANU-PF are going through in this season and time. And what we are saying is we need to continue to stand and to pray for the nation of Zimbabwe. We are seeing Zimbabweans beginning to gather themselves to talk about this idea of Emmerson Mnangagwa and the 2030. And of course, civic organizations mobilizing the people of Zimbabwe for a strong resistance movement against the plans of Mnangagwa. We see also Mangwana and the 2030Ists attack the Newsday for exposing the unpopular agenda of Mnangagwa. Newsday has been on record always speaking and exposing the shenanigans of the 2030Ists and all those that are lobbying for Mnangagwa to stay on in power or even to get to be a life president. And Mangwana and the 2030Ists have risen up and they started to attack the daily news, the Newsday, calling it a misinformation, agenda. But yet, the issues that we read from the daily news are not misinformation to the nation. So what they want to give to the nation is what they call correct information. Whatever is said by other people, especially considering the truth of what is behind this 2030 agenda, they want to call it misinformation, which is quite very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. The propagandists are now crying foul because now they are seeing that the voice that is speaking against them is becoming louder and louder. Mangwana says protecting national security is not just about defending borders from physical invasion, but also about safeguarding against the insidious invasion of public perception through falsehoods and disinformation. Just imagine, what are you talking about? What are you defending? You're talking about defending national security. So Mnangagwa's, deciding to go for 2030, you are making that a national security issue. The failure of Mnangagwa to hold on to power, you want to take it as a national security issue. Like, really? So these people, they want to take Zimbabwe as if it is Mnangagwa and Mnangagwa is Zimbabwe. That is the very unfortunate thing that we have continued to see happening in our country. It is quite sad and very unfortunate that these people have lied to themselves and they've used propaganda to the point that now people like Mangwana and all others ZANU-PF propagandists, they no longer know what is true and what is not true. To them, they've spoken lies over and over to the point that they've gotten to a point where they've forgotten whether their lie is the truth or the truth is the lie. So here is some headlines of the new Newsday, which have angered ZANU-PF people. Like ZANU-PF plows with ED's agenda, 2030 agenda, ED 2030 push a recipe for disaster, churches trash ED 2030 plan. So these are the headings that are making people like Mangwana and other apologists of Mnangagwa's 2030 agenda to become very angry and very furious, to the point of wanting to just attack everyone for the sake of attacking. So this is becoming quite interesting as the nation continues to resist the plans of Mnangagwa to hold on to power. You see, we have seen this happening from the beginning, where Mnangagwa said he was going to be going for only one term. And before even the end of that term, they started to shout Mnangagwa 2023. And it happened. And then when we got to 2023, Mnangagwa did not win the election. He rigged the election. SADC condemned that election and said it was a sham of an election. Mnangagwa forced himself and inaugurated himself as the president. And we saw many SADC leaders did not attend. The same thing that we have seen happening with the Daniel Chapo also in Mozambique, where many leaders of the world and of Africa and even of SADC did not go for that inauguration because of the nature of the election. That also happened with Emmerson Mnangagwa. And before we even go, even months down the lane of that new term that he is given to himself by force, they are already shouting again 2030. Really, is that really realistic? Can really people be tolerating such kind of nonsense and hogwash? Zimbabwean people this time around must stand up and resist this. I think it's a high time that Mnangagwa has taken advantage of Zimbabwean people's silence and Zimbabwean people's, just accepting things that are wrong and without challenging these things. And I think it's a high time that we now need to begin to talk about these issues. Zimbabweans need to start to, be angry over being taken for a ride, being taken for granted by Emmerson Mnangagwa, because he does not care the suffering of the people of Zimbabwe. So there are people that are out there who are running with this agenda, while Mnangagwa continues to maintain that he does not want to go to 2030. And yet those little puppies of his continue to bark over this issue of 2030. And we are asking ourselves why Mnangagwa is not stopping them if he is sincerely against, continuing up to 2030. So Mnangagwa is just a shrewd contriver. We know that he's a crook. He wants this thing. He is the one who actually orchestrated this thing. He gives it to the young people to start making noise about it, and he wants to pretend as if he's innocent of all these shenanigans. But the truth of the matter is, Mnangagwa is fully aware of what is happening and is fully in support of what is happening, but yet saying the right things on public platforms. But that is not going to help him get far, because Zimbabwean people have seen all the shenanigans. That's why everyone in Zimbabwe is seeing this. That's why resistance, even within ZANU-PF, is very great. There's so much resistance. We have seen Wanakudza MTC. We have seen people like quite a number of these other apologists of ZANU-PF vachiuya vachizviramba zvinizvo kuti it's not going to be working out. They are resisting it also from right inside ZANU-PF, and we are watching to see how things are going to end up unfolding finally. Otherwise, we are putting pressure and praying for Zimbabwe. We know that freedom for Zimbabwe is coming and God is in it.